Within the Bay Area were these wonderful people, some of these names you will know, some you will not know now, working right across the board in radical politics, in architecture, painting, and all kinds of things, and brought them together to discuss issues critically, which was sort of fairly unusual in art schools at the time. And the outcome of that, I was just there 4 or 5 years, when I came to England, was to try to institute what was really just a 3-day conference into a sort of program, basically, for postgraduate work. This is some of those books that informed the thinking that I think we're still dealing with today. Of course, Simon Nora's report to the President of France, in which télématique, the word télématique was coined, the Network Nation talking, which really was the sort of EYES, the EYES project on the east coast of America, the first major non-ARPANET project of networking that Murray Turhoff developed. And then my friend, friends in California working with electronic meetings that became really the system that we were able to use as artists later in the 70s. And the Tao of Physics, which was that key book that brought physics and Eastern philosophy together. So these things really produced what I call the telematic embrace. That was one of the early projects that we were involved in, using a Canadian system that we were allowed. So La Pliche du Texte was one of the first collaborative works, literary sort of works that I was engaged in. Just passing this very quickly. In Vienna, I had the chair for 7 years of communication theory. And there we were able to develop seminars with Australia and so on, using telematic systems and working very closely with Željko Wiener and Robert Adrian. And then the Venice Biennale, actually, in whenever it was, 1984, would you believe, gave over the whole of the, what is it called, the rope factory, you know, to telematics, to computer. It was a wonderful experience. We had lots and lots and lots of artists from all over the world showing work. I think it produced perhaps 1/2 of a column inch in perhaps maybe 3 newspapers in the entire world. There was absolutely no response publicly to it whatsoever anywhere in the world. Even Jascha Reichardt of cybernetic serendipity fame, who was there, failed to write about it at all. It was a little bit early in the day. But it was a most remarkable manifestation of artists working, not just in Italy, of course, but across the world. But that was 84, you see. And then my project, Aspects of Gaia, used the earthworks around the Bruckner thing for people to sort of float through into another kind of space, trying to get away really from the interface, trying to find another way of dealing with the interface to cybernetic system, to telematic systems, and these other sort of projects. So to get now into the Planetary Collegium, one of our first conferences was called Conscious Reframe. We've just had the 11th one up in Trondheim in Norway, was an attempt to bring scientists and engineers, technologists, philosophers, and artists together to talk about art and consciousness in this post-biological era. And I must move forward, but just to say there is a parallel thing that goes on every 2 years. Well, actually, yeah, every 2 years in Tucson, Arizona, and every other year in Europe, which is the scientists looking at consciousness, and they invite some of us there. So there's this sort of parallel thing going on of research into consciousness, which is, of course, really the frontier of knowledge. Nobody knows where it is, where it's located, how it arises. We know nothing whatsoever about it, and it is so fundamental to who we are. So it is kind of interesting for artists to be involved in looking at it. As I say, it's the final frontier, and in my view, it may be a non-material, irreducible given. What I'm pretty sure about for my own part, and it's not shared with people like Daniel Dennett and the whole of the MIT and lots of other people in America I know, but that is that it is not. Consciousness is not an epiphenomenon of the brain. In fact, I might go so far as to say that the brain might be seen as an epiphenomenon of consciousness. But whatever it is, our ways of approaching consciousness and art, of course, have moved beyond the digital now. I talk about moist media, but really we're talking about all these media: info, bio, neuro, geochemical, cogno, nano, astro, pharmo, socio, psychic media are all there to be explored.